Year 7, Unit 7.4, Finding a formula for the general term of a sequence. Let's look at some examples of how to do this. Remember, sometimes the general term is called the nth term, so get used to seeing both of them in questions. Here's a nice simple sequence to get us started. 11, 13, 15, 17. The term-to-term rule is obviously just adding 2. This will really help us in finding the formula. We can do it in two ways. We could use a function machine, like this, and that's a good place to start. The term-to-term rule, adding 2, gives us the clue that the function machine has to include a multiplying by 2. In algebra, we'd write this as 2n. Once we know that it's going to have multiplying by 2 somewhere, we could try it with some simple values of n. Let's start with n is 1, n is 2, or n is 3. That should give us the first 3 terms of our sequence. Well, if we just multiply them by 2, we get 2, 4, 6. And that's not what we want. We want 11, 13, and 15. So we need a second operation in our function machine, which will get us from 2 to 11, and that's going to be adding 9. When we check it with the other numbers in the sequence, we realise it works every time. Don't forget that even if you think you've found the rule for the first term, check it with the second and the third term to make sure it always works. We could write this using algebra as 2n plus 9. That gives us the formula for the general term or the nth term of this sequence. It will be 2n plus 9. And this will work for any term in the sequence. Shall we try another one? This sequence is 80, 75, 70, 65. This sequence is a bit different because it's decreasing, it goes down. So the term-to-term rule is minus 5. But we can use this term-to-term rule in exactly the same way. Let's try it with a function machine. The first box in the function machine will have something to do with minus 5, but instead of just taking away 5, we actually multiply by a negative number. Multiply by minus 5. In algebra, we'd write this as minus 5n. Let's try it out on some simple numbers first. So 1 times by minus 5 is minus 5. 2 times by minus 5 is minus 10. And 3 times by minus 5 is minus 15. Are these the 3 numbers we want to start our sequence off? Well, no, of course they're not. We want 80, 75 and 70. So the second box in the function machine has to be something that will adjust our numbers to make them right. Can you remember about negative numbers? Start from negative 5, add on 85, and that will get us to 80. Start with negative 10, add on 85, that gets us to 75. And it works for every number in the sequence. In algebra, we would write this as minus 5n plus 85. So the formula for the general term of this sequence would look like this. Minus 5n plus 85. Sometimes you might see this with the numbers swapped around, like this. The 85 first, and then the minus 5n second, but it means the same thing. Let's try doing a problem the other way round. What if we've got the formula for the general term and we're asked to find the first 6 terms of the sequence? So here's the formula for the general term, n plus 7. We could set it up as a little table like this. The first term, n will be 1, the second term, n will be 2, the third term, n will be 3. So all we do is take that number and add 7, and we get 8, 9, 10. Now the question asked us for the first 6 terms, and we've only done 3 so far, but we can probably see by now what the pattern is. 8, 9, 10, and then we can carry on the pattern 11, 12, 13, because it's just an adding 1 pattern. Let's try one that's a bit trickier. This time the general formula is 3n minus 2. Let's set it out in the same way. Do a little table to help us work out what the first few terms are going to be, then see if we can spot a pattern that will help us find the first 6 terms. So we need to multiply by 3 and then take away 2. So if n is 1, 3n is 3, 3n minus 2 would be 3 take away 2, which is 1, and so on. Here's the first 3 terms in our sequence then, 1, 4, 7. Can we spot what the pattern is? Yes, of course, it's adding 3. We can use this pattern to help us carry on and find the first 6 terms, 1, 4, 7, 10, 13, 16.